see light on retouch. Okay, that's cool. So karibuni sana, welcome to the live stream. And today's live stream is more of politics and East African politics, not just Kenyan, but we are going regional. So stories that are trending is that Tanzania, Samia Suluhu ameamua to ban all the Kenyan businesses, not just all the businesses, I think, pardon, but small business traders that are trading in Tanzania from Kenya. So we're gonna be talking about why and probably what is the solution to all this and why all this is starting at this point. Okay, so karibuni sana. As you join the live, please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. Let me know where you're watching me from and what do you think about this growing dispute between the two nations. For a period of time, Kenya and Tanzania have had a kind of love-hate relationship. Let me call it like that, because sometimes I think there was even a time that some cows were taken from, I think it was Kenya, then taken to Tanzania and banned. So it's been a quite something that perhaps needs a lasting solution. Okay, so karibuni sana champions. Today's video we are starting very early. Yeah, it's around afternoon as I'm doing this video. So what I'll be talking about this blowing problem that is happening in Kenya and Tanzania, because apparently the news that started 2 days ago, that's when Tanzania declared that small businesses from Kenya are supposed to pack their belongings and go back to Kenya. The only thing they need, or the kind of business they need in Tanzania, are the big professionals, established businesses, not the small traders. And in Kenya, we have Tanzanian nationals, even in places like Isili, Gikomba, there are very many. In fact, nowadays in Isili, you find that most of the people that are selling kitenge clothes, some of the big wholesales in Isili, especially even the men's clothes, are being sold by Tanzanian nationals. Wako wengi sana. Today, if I go to Isili, I will tell you this shop belongs to a Tanzanian national. This one, I have even bought from them many times. So the same people that we are working with here in Kenya. There is even a story that most of the beggars that you see in the streets of Nairobi are ferried from Tanzania and brought to Kenya. I don't know how true that is, but of course it's something that's been talked about by many people. Chances of being true are very high. So there are so many Tanzanians in Kenya. You go to Gikomba, ukienda soko Gikomba, there are quite many. If you go to Marigiti Wakulima Market, you'll find Tanzanian vehicles, lorries offloading oranges, onions, while we still have onions and oranges in Kenya. In places like Makueni, we farm a lot of oranges. Yeah, in Nyahururu and Laikipia, there are so many onions. Yeah, but these guys are bringing their produce from their country to Kenya, and no one is telling them you don't have to sell. They offload, they sell, they make money, they go back to their country, bring other produce. Yeah, we import a lot of maize from Tanzania, Zambia, and many other places in the region. So I think something that perhaps in Africa we need to fight, and we need to really do something about it. It's the neo-colonialism. Mkoloni alitoka, lakini it's like we are still colonized. We are still thinking in our own borders. There's still the same borders that were created by the colonial government, whom left Africa a long time ago are still the same kind of thinking that we still have. Instead of integrating as a region and trading with one another, we still have this kind of wrangles within Africa. Well, we should have eliminated all these borders. I like how Wademaya normally talks about it. Africa is supposed to be borderless. We're not supposed to be having all these borders. These borders, we're supposed to eliminate them. I'm supposed to just board a matatu or a bus from here to Tanzania, go do my business and come back to Kenya, so long as I have a passport. So long as at the entry level you can be able to show that you are Kenyan, this is your passport, this is your ID. You enter Tanzania, you do your business, you come back to Kenya, and Tanzania the same way. They are supposed to be allowed to trade within Africa, within the region. It's supposed to be an East Africa bloc that citizens trade with one another. Yeah, the East Africa community is composed of Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, I think Rwanda, Burundi, and the likes of Ethiopia. I don't know whether Ethiopia is supposed belongs to East Africa, and what do you call them? Somalia. Somalia also belong to East Africa community. So that is the wrangle that is happening between Kenya and Tanzania, and it's so messy to an extent that most of the small business traders in Tanzania are now fighting for their survival because they're being sanctioned. They're being told that you're supposed to pack your belongings and leave, otherwise you start big businesses. Even the small transport companies that are operating between Kenya and Tanzania, they are also facing restrictions. Yeah, and this is political. It's more of politics. And that one I know for sure. And the politics is not supposed to interfere with the businesses. No more businesses that are supposed to be free, but as things look like, we are having politics being brought to business community. Let's say, for example, like now, since now Tanzanians have declared that small businesses that are being operated in Tanzania by Kenyans are not supposed to be allowed. Let's imagine we say the same thing here in Kenya. All the businesses that are operating in Eastleigh, hizo biashara zote za kitenge, hizo all those fashion business that are operating in Eastleigh, they are supposed to close them as soon as tomorrow. Biashara zote za Gikomba, if you go to Gikomba right now, most of the Mutumba businesses, we will find a mixture of Kenyans and Tanzanians. Yeah. The same thing when you go to Wakulima market, when you go to town, and they are even beyond the just few businesses I have mentioned. There are other businesses that Tanzanians wanafanya Kenya, na sisi wa Kenya tunawakubalia. In fact, Kenyans have been very accommodating. Yeah, we also have the Burundians nowadays. When you see someone hawking snacks and coffee, it's obviously a Burundi guy, and you will obviously utamuita Burundi when you're talking to him. When you go to construction industry, when you go to construction industry, the same people, you find so many Burundians doing this. It's the very business that Kenyans can also do. So why are these guys doing all this politics? So my assumption and my reasons for this is two. You see, Kenya has been a dominance when it comes to regional business. most of the, and I think maybe Tanzania wako na weave ama wako na beef, what do I call it? They see that Kenyans are succeeding, or they are at least above them when it comes to business, and they are trying to show the dominance that you guys, you're not going to be above us. We are supposed to be the regional powerhouse when it comes to business. You see, Tanzania has the largest landmass in East Africa. Yeah, their landmass is huge than Kenya, even Uganda, and even I think they can only compare with Ethiopia. And I think Tanzania and Ethiopia, Tanzania could be bigger than Ethiopia. Yeah, so they feel that they're supposed to be the kings. They're supposed to be, the go-to when it comes to business. But Kenyans, Kenyans are very aggressive. You will find a kibandaski in Tanzania being operated by a Kenyan. Yeah. Utapata biashara ya very small businesses in Tanzania zenye zinafanywa na wa Kenya. And one thing that I can say for free is that Tanzanians, they are ni wavivu kiasi. They are not that aggressive when it comes to business. They are not that aggressive. The best word is to say that they are a bit lazy, wavivu kiasi. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but it's obvious when you compare their aggressiveness when it comes to business and Kenyans. Kenyans are more aggressive when it comes to business, and that's why they fear that when Kenyans continue, crossing to their borders, doing more business in Tanzania, they are going to lose to Kenyans. And in Kenya, with the competition here in Kenya, when a Kenyan goes and opens a business in Tanzania, there isn't that much competition, and that is the advantage the Kenyans that are crossing the border have, because in Tanzania they just survive for today. Tomorrow is known, is never known, or it's not guaranteed. So wao wanaishi leo, they don't kinda have that ambition of tomorrow. Yeah, so that is what is point number one, the reason why Samia Suluhu is fighting back for their small businesses, because the dominance that is being shown by Kenyans kinda is going to push out the Tanzanians out of business. So I think if it's legal, if the Kenyan who are operating those businesses have been legalized to do business, then there should not be a problem, because at the end of the day, if the authorities have given you a license to operate, they are paying taxes to the Tanzanian government, then they are supposed to just be contented with the amount of tax they are receiving, because even if they raise the taxes, bado Wakenya wanaendelea kufanya biashara. Okay, so number 2 is the dispute, the political dispute that have happened there before. Yeah, I think probably what I can draw to this is that most of the regional discussion about business, Tanzania feels like they have been excluded from the regional discussions to do with business, and that's why they feel that kind of Kenyans have taken decisions that have disadvantaged them. But I don't think that's supposed to be the case, because when you look at even the investment, you will find that even more Chinese or even more investors are going to Tanzania compared to Kenya, because the Kenyan system nowadays is not that favorable when it comes to investors. So I don't know why they feel that Kenyans have a hand or a higher advantage when it comes to business. Okay, so what is supposed to be the solution to this? Because at the end of the day, solution need to be found, because if it doesn't happen, Kenyans are going to retaliate, and the retaliation is not going to be that kind. Yeah, it will be swift. I have seen even politicians, the rights of Senator Cherargei from Nandi, saying that all the Tanzanians that are operating businesses in Kenya are now supposed to be told back, because if, on the other hand, they are victimizing Kenyans doing business in Tanzania, then it seems we can as well do the same to them. Okay, so solution is that it's either we do the same thing that they are doing to us, and say that you guys, we no longer need you in Gikomba, we no longer need you in Sili, even the small businesses that you are doing, pack and go. Okay, or else we have some diplomatic discussions where we harmonize these kind of issues and see how best they can be resolved, because at the end of the day, if it doesn't get resolved, it is going to escalate to levels that are going to be too bad. Okay, so I think it's only the diplomacy that is going to work. Ruto na Samia Suluhu waketi chini waongee, watafute suluhu. So Ruto atafute suluhu ndio waweze kukaa chini watafute suluhu. Yeah, that is the only suluhu that we need. They sit down, talk, and find an amicable way of solving this problem. If maybe more Kenyans are flocking to Tanzania and regulated, then Tanzania just needs to do some regulation to make sure that businesses that are operating, they are licensed, and they are paying the same licenses just like Tanzanians. Yeah, but if they are going to increase the levies, that is going to disadvantage Kenyans, and they are operating the same market. So the only thing is you pay permits, you are given a work permit to be in that country. Of course, to be given a work permit, you pay for it, and then you pay the normal licenses. That is the only thing that is supposed to be done, and then biashara iendelee kama kawaida. Wakenya na Watanzania waendelee kuishi kama madugu na madada, wafanye kazi pamoja kwa ushirikiano, na tuweze kujenga nchi zetu zinawiri kibiashara, zinawiri kimaendeleo, infrastructure, and so many other things. Okay, so I wanted to do this kind of video as a sit-down video, but there is a lot of distractions that is happening in my surrounding, so I had just to do it as a live stream, and then we see what is going to happen in my next one. So thank you so much for watching the video. If you're watching it after the live stream, kindly subscribe to the channel, like this video, and drop me a comment. Tell me what you think about this drama that is happening between Kenya and Tanzania.